Well, good evening, everyone. Thanks for coming in. As always, what can I say about the market today? Well, the past couple of weeks, it has not been fun. Down tremendously, obviously, from where I was, I'm sure as all of you guys as well. What's going on with the market? Heck, who the heck knows, right? There are some good signs, at least. I've seen some stories on the market actually rebounding like 5-7 days after the government reopens, which we had last time as well. So maybe there is going to be still a light at the end of the tunnel here for November. We'll see on that one. But as far as today was not great. Bitcoin was down quite a bit, went below 100,000 today, actually closed below 100,000 as well. We'll take a look at that. Obviously, we'll take a look at the miners. Miners got beat up really, really bad today. Bitdeer got beat up tremendously again, some more today. But there's some news on that one. They got two things happening for them today, which I think drove the prices down. We also had Bitfarms reporting their quarterly results, which were actually not that bad. And we had some good news from them, but still the market being the market didn't help out the stock there. Everything went down today. So we'll talk about that. And then Cleanspark, we have some news on them as well. We'll talk about that. And I think that's it. And we'll get into Q&A here. So it should be pretty, well, it won't be short and sweet, but it will definitely be maybe bittersweet. But let's get into it here. Here's what we got. Enough financial advice for me only. Do your own research. Full disclosure below that. Hit the like button, subscribe. Helps me out tremendously here. And let's take a look at what happened today with the markets in general. And I'll give you guys my thoughts on it a little bit as well. Let's go. We want to go here. All right. Hopefully this doesn't, well, if it pauses on me or if it stalls out, well, I'll keep an eye on the chat here. So if you guys see it stall, let me know, and I'll try and keep an eye on it. All right. But here's what we got. Bitcoin today. Definitely down today. We were up in the green, and then we came back down today. So we closed out being down 1.99% on it. We were down $2,024 roughly and closed at 99,614. Okay, looking at the weekly here, if we look at the weekly here, we are now positively below the 50 SMA, right? Which is, if you go by what's being talked about on the web there, a lot of people are saying that if we close below the 50 SMA, that this could be the sign of a beginning of a bear market here potentially on it. So hopefully we bounce tomorrow or into the weekend here and don't close Sunday night in the red on here. But we have been below the 50 SMA before as well at times here. This is going back to 2022 here. It's kind of where we bottomed out here. We definitely went below it at that point, right? But you can see it here. We battled with it in 2021 December, which was basically the top in Bitcoin there at 69,000 roughly. And if we scroll back out here, we did close below it here, right? At least once in July of 2021. And then we bounced off of it. So maybe we might be lucky here and we do the same thing here and bounce off of it again at that point. There were other times where we did fall below it and close below it. This was back in basically the pandemic. This was the reason for it here. We closed below it. So I think that's a black swan event there that happened, but everything was down at that point. Markets in general, everything was down at that point. So we do have one at least here where we closed above, below it and actually bounced at that point. So we'll keep an eye on it. We'll keep an eye on it for the next couple of days, see where we actually end up tomorrow with it. We're not doing that great here in the new day for Friday on it. We're down a little bit, some more here. We're down 0.56% here. Markets were all down today. Really, I don't know for what reason. Market or the government has reopened, and yet still the markets, puked today quite a bit. Dow Jones was down 1.65%. Nasdaq was down 2.29. S&P was down 1.6. Russell was down 2.81%. Obviously, Bitcoin was down today. Ethereum was also down today quite a bit. There was down 5.4% here. I mean, you can see the miners here. They were all in the red here today. It kind of reminds me of the tariffs that we had here going back to beginning of the year in April, if you recall that, right? This is kind of where we were. Let's see, this is June. Here we go. Here's the tariffs right there, right? As far as the RSI action on it right now that we're looking at it, for Bitcoin, it does look like we are right around that same RSI range more or less here. We could go down a little bit more based on this, but it's looking like the same kind of action here with, looking at the chart here at least. Remember from basically January, we continued to fall down here, and kind of what we're seeing the same thing happening here a little bit as well. So I wonder if that's going to be the end of it here. We'll bounce. We'll see. Right? Nobody has a crystal ball. I'd love to have a crystal ball. I'm sure you guys too, but we don't have a crystal ball. So we'll just go by what we can see and look at past data as well and see if we can bounce off of this line here. Okay. Miners here. Bitfarms was down quite a bit today. 17.98%. With everything being down today, I was contemplating like putting in a couple thousand into these guys here. today. I'm going to see how they play out tomorrow. If we get a bounce tomorrow, or do we drive down some more? If we do, I will probably put in a couple $1,000s and actually buy some of these guys up here, because I think this is just getting ridiculous on the price section on these things. We have seen, obviously, these guys here. I mean, you can see Bitfarms here getting pretty close to the 30 RSI on it. The last one was here. It actually bounced off of it. Right back here, it bounced off of it as well. So I think we're getting close to that point where it might actually make sense for it to go up here. And it looks like I'm frozen on the chart here. Let's do this. Let's do that. This usually resets it and it actually works. Let's see here. This will actually go back. Why isn't it going back to that? Okay, now nothing's working. Ha! Okay, there we go. Okay, hopefully we're back here. All right, so yeah, that's working at least, so we're not frozen. But you can see RSI, right, at these points was about the same as we are right now, roughly. So maybe if we bounce here, or if we go down tomorrow, I'll probably pick some up on Bitfarms. Bitdeer was down huge today, 20.3% there. I mean, this thing is just falling like a rock off a cliff here. Last time it was this low on RSI, was back here. We kind of saw a similar event here. This was right around February, right? We saw the same kind of drop in it, more or less, on it back then, and then it actually bounced off of that. So maybe we are getting close to that bottom here. Kanga was down 3.32%. I think this one did the best out of all of these guys here today, but this thing has been coming down for a while here. RSI is also at the 30 mark right there. Cypher was down 14.1% there. RSI is at 39. We bounced before at that level also on it, so we'll see if we can bounce off of that. But look at the price difference here. We were at 469 roughly. We were at 1493. So roughly, what is that, 3x from where we are in price. RSI has come down. This could be a good thing, right? This could be a good thing where we actually bottomed out and we may actually go up. I don't know. But looking at the RSI and where we bounced it before on these guys, it kind of gives me a little bit of hope here. Cleanspark was down 10.13%. Same thing. This thing is even lower on the RSI. Well, maybe about the same, more or less, a little bit lower on the RSI, where the price at that point was also much lower at $9. It's at $12 roughly today. So maybe that one's getting close to being bottomed out here. CORZ was down 7.79%. RSI, again, on this was close to 30 there. So we have extreme fear in the market right now, and these, especially in the sector right now. You got Hive being down 10.73%. That one is getting close to 30 as well. So I think we're getting close on this stuff. Hut 8 was down 13.68%. That one, last time the RSI was at this range at 39.40, was back here. Price at that point was only $10. We're at $36. We're up 3x on it already, right? So IREN, same thing today, was down 12.66% here. RSI is way, way lower here. Last time the RSI was at the 40 range, was back here at this time when price at this point was $5. So we're still up like 10x from where we were at that point, all right? So this still looks really healthy to me. Mora is down 11.31% here. This one has fallen below the 30 RSI on it. And last time we were back here, this was actually right around the same price, actually. Pretty close to the same price at this point. And then it continued to go up here while the price actually dropped here, but maybe that one's getting close to a bottom out as well. Riot was down 10.22% here. RSI also close to the 30 range. Last time it was back here, was over here in March. Riot was around $6, so we're at least 2x on it from that point. Wolf was down 7.59% today. RSI right now is at 39.40 roughly. Last time we were back here, much lower in price, we were at $2. So this thing's up, 5x from that time frame again. So depending on when you got into these guys, yeah, you're going to be hurting if you got in at much higher prices than some of us that have been in these guys for a couple of years. And, you know, we've tremendously benefited from the price action here on these guys here recently in the last couple of weeks. But just now, they're definitely pulling back and they're kicking some teeth in on some people that got in a little bit higher right now, which is not a great feeling, unfortunately. But it does set us up potentially for more room to run up later on. As far as AI, HPC, business, things like that, nothing has really changed there other than a lot of narrative about AI bubble, which I still, for the life of me, do not understand where are they getting an AI bubble coming from. All of these companies that are in this space right now, right? Google, XAI, you got Meta, you got Microsoft, you got Amazon. Oh, I'm probably missing a couple there. They're all generating a heck of a lot of revenue from all of this already as they're building it out and adding functionality and things like that. So it's not a bubble. Bubble from the dot-com bubble that we had back in 1999, 2000 era was, a lot of it was speculation. on .com, basically. Anything that had a .com had a huge valuation at that point without any substantial revenues. It was a little too early for the internet at that time, I think, and it took a little bit longer for the pipes of the network for the internet to get built out, where people had, quick access, whether it was DSL, and then later on we had broadband. People were then able to do all this stuff here, and then we had obviously the smartphones coming out, right, later on as well at that point, and that's what drove the .com era again up. But this time around, you got HPCI businesses that are actually generating revenue right now, and they're generating a lot of revenue from it as well. And I just saw a news story today that Samsung is looking to build a data center that's going to house like 500,000 GPUs to help them build a manufacturing, or to help build their manufacturing for chips and things like that. So you got basically AI data center helping to build out another generation of newer chips, newer fabs, more efficient fabs, things like that, to then build more data centers and things like that. Right. This is going to not only be happening here in the data center space or in the chip manufacturing space, it's going to be happening across the world in different businesses, different applications, things like that. This is still very, very early on here, and we're seeing this just kind of play out right now. But this AI bubble that we're hearing about, I don't know. It's just, I think people are upset they missed the ride here to the top, so they're trying to bring things down. I don't know if that's actually the case here, but that's kind of the way I'm explaining it to myself, right? People miss the rocket ship here on a lot of these things, so they want to bring them down to more reality, and then they're going to drive them back up here eventually. I don't know exactly when that's going to be, but I think they are going to be going up here, right? Because we do have a lot of these guys that have a lot of megawatts still available for them. IREN, Cypher, Bitfarms, CleanSpark, TerraWolf, all of these guys that are building out, CoreWeave even, right? All of these guys, not CoreWeave, Core Scientific, all of these guys still have a lot of megawatts to use later on in the next year to 2 years to even 3 years. So I'm still holding strong on this. It's not a great feeling watching your portfolio go down quite a bit by about a third in value in just a couple of weeks, but I've been through this before. I'm not too fazed by it right now. If things come down in price, I will probably pause the basement renovation, and I'll probably throw some money into the markets here because things are just getting dirt cheap. Well, I wouldn't say dirt cheap, but they're getting cheap again. All right, so there's that MicroStrategy. There's my little rant. And we froze again. Let's go back. Let's do the Q&A part of it. Let's go back here. All right. All right, so now we haven't frozen. All right, MicroStrategy was down 7.15%. Galaxy was down 2.87%. Block was down 5.28%. This one's getting low on the RSI as well. Coin was down 6.86. Metaplanet was down just a little bit, 0.25%. This thing has definitely come way down though from where it was at 1,930. I'm not sure. I think that might be what is that? Japanese. What is that? What? Not the wine, but something else. But it's definitely come way down. Exodus down 8.84%, and then we have Nexon for some reason still running hot pretty well compared to everything else. It was actually up to today, 0.14% there. Similar was down 10.61%. Phoenix was down 6.37. Game was down 1.87. Small miners got beat up as well. You guys can see that. I'm not going to go through that. Waste our time on that. Bitcoin ETF or Bitcoin miner ETFs were all down. Ethereum holding companies were all down. Bitcoin ETF miners or ETFs for the miners were all down as well. WGMI is definitely kicking my butt there a little bit. That thing has come down. That's been a big pull on my overall value of my portfolio there. But it's also gone up tremendously here, so I'm still up huge on it. Overall, anything else here? American Bitcoin was down 3.85%. FIG was down 7.8. Wi-Fi was down 12.62. Open was down 8.62 as well. Oracle was down 4.15%. I mean, you can see even Oracle has come back down here, all right, below the 30 RSI as well on that one. So it's just at the miners. It's everything that's AI related here. Nibia, same thing, down 6.07% there. Soluna being down 12.32. Backed was down 14.3%. Fermi was down 19.58, right at the 30 RSI. So I think we're getting close. The only one that was green today was Meta, was up just a little bit, 0.14%. Google was down 2.89. Amazon was down 2.71. Microsoft was down 1.54. Microsoft has come closer to bottoming out here as well recently, so that one might bounce here. But yeah, overall, market I think is just overreacting, overcorrecting itself in this space a lot. And I think we're getting some good deals on some of these guys. If you want to re-enter into them and buy some more shares, I think we're getting pretty close to the bottom here. We could obviously go a little bit more, but as I always say, dollar cost average in if you can. Have some cash on the side to help when things do go down a little bit more. But at this point, but to me, it looks like we're getting close. Time will only tell on that one. Okay, miner share after hours right now. Let's see how they're doing. Probably doesn't really matter because sometimes they're in the green and then they go way, way red in the daytime. So Bitdeer's up a little bit here, 0.09%. Bitfarms is down another, let's see, where does this one end at? Okay, 11, come on, catch up. Where's that? Down 6.53%. So I might be looking to buy a little bit of that one tomorrow. Cypher is down another, let's just refresh it here instead of having to wait for it to catch up. It's down 3.55%. Cleanspark, let's see where that one's at. That one was up in the green here. It is now still up in the green, 0.33% there. CORZ Scientific, refresh that as well. That one's down 0.13. Hive Digital, let's see where that one comes in at. That one's down 0.06%, or 1.64%, sorry. And then we got Hut 8 being down 4.11%. IREN is down 2.22%. Mara is actually positive now. Yeah, up 0.55%. Riot, second to last here, is up 0.22. And TeraWolf here is, let's see where that one comes in at. A negative 1.54%. All right, so we'll see how they do tomorrow. Tomorrow's Friday. Maybe we get a bounce. We'll see. All right, what else do we have here? Bitcoin here for the quarter. It is down right now for Q4, 12.57%. For the month of November, we're down 9.22%. So October and November have not played out so far as we had thought or expected them to play out based on historical data that we do have here on Bitcoin, right? Look at all the green here in October. Didn't get it this time around. November, also a lot of green here so far, not cooperating with us at all. Government shutdown didn't help out. Trump's tariff threats against China didn't help things out. Not having the data from the government for CPI, PCI, jobs, all that stuff, I don't think is helping out. So maybe eventually we do start running back up here once we start getting some of that data and clarity. Because right now the market is kind of mixed on whether or not we're going to get rate cuts happening in December. There, okay. Let's see. Bitcoin ETF inflows. No such thing. We have outflows today, 610 million there on it, without even BlackRock reporting IBIT, right? So we'll have to take a look at that tomorrow, what that comes in as at right now. And then the FedWatch tool, so we can get this updated. What do we get right now? All right, yeah, 50%, right? It was just like a day or two ago, it was like at 66%. So it's definitely come down to where it's, well, maybe they're thinking that we're going to get a 50%, 50 basis point cut because that's come up here. So maybe that's where that's kind of transitioning over to maybe we get a 50. Who knows? A rate cut would be good nonetheless. All right, let's get into some of the stories that we do have here. Bitdeer announces 2 offerings here. So Bitdeer announces pricing of registered offerings, and you guys can see this. Let's go back here. Screen froze again. Let's go back here. There we go. Okay. Bitdeer announces pricing of registered direct offering of 10,661,140 Class A ordinary shares. Direct offering of its 10 million shares there per value of less than, very, very less than a penny to certain holders of its 5.25% convertible senior notes due in 2029. I'm not sure why they're doing it now. I mean, they still have a couple of years time to do it, but maybe those shareholders wanted their cash, maybe at a price of $13.94 per Class A ordinary share in a direct placement. Bitdeer estimates that the net proceeds from this registered direct offering will be approximately $148.4 million after deducting the estimated offering expense payable by Bitdeer. And then Bitdeer intends to use the net proceeds from the registered direct offering and the notes offering to, 1, pay the approximately $35.4 million costs of the capped call transactions that Bitdeer entered into with one of the initial purchasers or its affiliates and other financial institutions, and 2, to pay the approximately $267.9 million cost of repurchasing for cash $200 million aggregate principal amount of Bitdeer's 5.2% convertible senior notes due 2029. Okay, so I don't know if those got called in or what happened there, but they're obviously doing that on top of the other convertible note that they're doing here now, right? Bitdeer announces pricing of a 400 million convertible senior note offering. So it's like they're using one to pay down the other one. Maybe that's why the market didn't really like it too much here, but they announced at 400 million principal amount of 4% convertible senior notes. So those are actually better as far as terms are concerned here, right? And down here they state what they're going to be using it for. Bitdeer intends to use the net proceeds from the notes offering together with the net proceeds from the registered direct offering to pay approximately 35.4 million cost of cap calls. Initial purchasers talked about that. To pay approximately 267.9 million cost of repurchasing for cash 200 million aggregate principal amount of Bitdeer's 5.25% convertible senior notes. And then Bitdeer intends to use the remaining net proceeds from the notes offering for data center expansion, ASIC-based mining rig development and manufacture, and expansion of its HPC AI cloud business, as well as working capital and other general corporate purposes there. Okay, so it's kind of like a little bit like washing the books. They're getting the cash here, is paying the other convertible notes off. But like I said, they still have a couple of years for it to really matter there. So I'm surprised that they're doing it now. But maybe they're getting called on it. That's a possibility there. All right, so that's that. That's what's been pushing the stock down, obviously. Not great results for the quarter. Also didn't help. Them pushing out their, delays in production, having a fire at two of their locations as well. Didn't help stock this week at all. Stock has been definitely getting beat to shreds here this week. All right, next we got here Bitfarms. So Bitfarms had a great announcement today, but market didn't care. Market was just throwing everything that had anything to do with HPC AI, data centers, or whatever it might be. They were throwing it out along with the kitchen sink there, right? And Elon Musk would be probably taking that kitchen sink and bringing it to, bringing it to Twitter headquarters a couple years back. Turn that company around. So here's what we have. Bitfarms announces plans for conversion of Washington's site to HPC-AI workloads, modular infrastructure to enable faster construction targeting December 2026 completion, so next year, right around this time frame. Site designed to support NVIDIA GB300s and with advanced liquid cooling. Those are the Blackwell chips there. Full supply chain of IT infrastructure equipment secured, so that's good. Pursuing both co-location and cloud monetization strategies. That's great there to hear also. So here's what we have. Washington targeting 2026 completion. The company's 18 megawatt Bitcoin mining facility in Washington State will be the first site fully covered to support HPC AI workloads with up to 190 kilowatts per rack and advanced liquid cooling. Bitfarms has signed a fully funded binding agreement of up to $128 million US dollars with a large publicly traded American multinational provider of critical infrastructure and services for data centers. I'm surprised they didn't list who that was, right? Whether it's going to be Dell, what's the other one? Micro PC, I think is another one that does it there. There's probably others as well. I'm surprised they didn't list it because I think that would have been a nice little flex there potentially. Maybe it wouldn't be. Who knows? But under the terms of the agreement, the partner will supply all critical IT equipment and building materials for 18 megawatts of gross capacity with an anticipated industry-leading PUE between 1.2 and 1.3. The site is targeted for completion in December 2026. Right, so that's all good there. We talked about that here. And then there's comments from Ben Gagnon. I listened to the conference call as well. We'll talk about that a little bit once we go over the quarterly results for them. So Ben had to say this: while our focus is on developing infrastructure to support NVIDIA's next generation of Vera Rubin GPUs across most of our portfolio with nearly $1 billion in cash, unused credit facilities, and Bitcoin and numerous potential GPU financing options available, we believe there are compelling reasons to consider pursuing a GPU as a service or cloud monetization strategy, specifically at Washington. Despite being less than 1% of our total development portfolio, we believe that the conversion of just our Washington site to GPU as a service could potentially produce more net operating income than we have ever generated with Bitcoin mining, providing the company with a strong cash flow foundation that could fund OPEX, G&A, and debt service, and contribute to CapEx as we wind down our Bitcoin mining businesses in 2026 and 2027. So you can say basically goodbye to Bitcoin mining for them by the end of 2027 here. So that's one company that we know for sure is going to be out of Bitcoin mining completely in the next couple of years, which, if you recall, Bitfarms has been like one of the first major companies that went public for Bitcoin mining here, going back to 2017, 2018 timeframe. They're like the godfathers here of Bitcoin mining, along with Hive and others. So that's kind of interesting there. The other part of it that's interesting here is obviously talking about the Vera Rubin GPUs, right? My understanding on those is that those are even going to be more power hungry and obviously more efficient, but they're going to be more power hungry. There's going to be more things that are going to be required in order to house those units. I got to do some more research on the different requirements of the different chips there, the Vera Rubin compared to the Blackwell. And maybe we'll talk about that maybe tomorrow or on Sunday's show, right, when we do that one, just to cover what's the difference between those two there and what's going to be needed on that side of things here. What else was interesting here? Obviously, the other part was that there could potentially produce more net operating income than we have ever generated with Bitcoin mining. So that's interesting there, right? From that one site of 18 megawatts, they could be obviously generating more revenue than they have from their Bitcoin mining side of things. That's a pretty big flex there if they can obviously pull this off, because that would mean that, well, we can take a look at the numbers that we have here in a second. Well, let's look at that now here. So Bitfarms historically, right? So they were generating about the most they generated was 71.29 million here in Q2 for that. So if from 18 megawatts, if they could generate that, imagine what they can generate once they have, more of their sites being used for HPCI, and you guys can't see it because my screen froze again. There you go, right? This is in Q2, they made the most here out of that overall. So that, just imagine what that could actually mean, right? If only 18 megawatts is being used up and generating maybe 75 million, whatever it is per quarter for them, multiply that times the additional megawatts that they do have available, what could they be actually generating in revenue in the next, 3-5 years, whatever it might be. Okay, so there's that part of it. Just want to show you guys that, right? So all things are not that bad. We're still early in this because a lot of these guys are still using up only a small percentage of their available megawatts going forward. Okay, so there's that news. We talked about that. I don't think there's anything else in this. Nope. Okay, Bitfarms, here's their Q2 report. So they came out today. Also listened to their conference call this morning as well. I listened to that on my lunch break. I was very, very happy to hear what I heard about their strategy going forward with obviously Washington, and then what they're planning on building out with the rest of the sites that they have there as well. But right now they are focusing on Washington site, which is kind of what we thought would happen there. That's obviously the smaller site that they have. So that actually makes sense. And it was a good conference call overall. Definitely worth a listen if you haven't listened to it already. But let's get into some of the numbers that we do have here for them. And then we'll get into the numbers that we have there for them. Okay, so HPCI infrastructure projects, right? We announced this already with the Washington site there. They received positive indications from PPL on viability of converting Panther Creek's existing ISA of 60 megawatts to a firm ESA. I'm not sure what the difference there is between that. Of 60 megawatts to expand the provision of firm power to 410 megawatts with the potential to expand power capacity to over 500 megawatts based on an additional load study there, okay? And then completed acquisition of Sharon, Pennsylvania's property, previously operating under a 17-year lease. The campus is currently operating 30 megawatts of Bitcoin mining capacity, which will now be committed to HPCI infrastructure. An additional 80 megawatt substation is expected to come online by year end of next year, bringing the anticipated total to 110 megawatts, right? So basically, think about what they can do with Washington site, if it's around $75 million in revenue from that per quarter. And if they, basically, that would be what, 5x from that as well for this site later on into 2027 as well. That's going to be a lot of revenue for them potentially. Okay, talked about some of those other things here. What else do we have here? Power and portfolio mining operations here. Updated energy portfolio consists of 2.1 gigawatts of power infrastructure assets in the United States and Canada, including 341 of megawatts energized capacity, 440 megawatts of secured contracted growth capacity, and 1,360 megawatts of capacity under application. So a lot of megawatts here going forward, but it's going to be a while, right? It's going to be, for them, it's going to be sometime next year we'll get Washington site up and running. Hopefully that's going to get energized quickly or get done before then even. They're going to be able to generate revenue at that point as well. And we're stuck here on, oh no, we're not stuck. My screen is stuck. Let's see here. Why does it do that? Okay, so my screen gets stuck here, but you guys are still good there. All right, hopefully that works. All right, let's see. So that's great to hear. Mining fleet remains efficient at 18 installed watts per terahash and continues to generate cash flow. So that's still good there. Their hash rate has come down. We'll talk about that in a second there. Q3 total revenue of 69 million, up 156% year over year. Cash general administrative expenses, exclusive of share-based compensation, was 14 million compared to 20 million in Q3. So that's good there. The improvement was largely driven by lower professional services. So that's also great, right? They're not in a battle with Riot anymore for a takeover there. So they're spending less on that. Love hearing that. Net operating loss of 29 million, including impairment charge of 9 million and non-cash depreciation of 27 million compared to operating loss of 31 million in Q3. So a slight improvement on that. And that was always going to be a matter of them getting to scale with their Bitcoin mining operations, just like anybody else. You need to get to a certain scale to be able to cover all the costs at that point. So net loss of 46 million or 8 cents loss per basic and diluted share compared to a net loss of 24 million or 5 cents net loss per basic and diluted share in Q3 2024. Adjusted EBITDA of 20 million or 28% of revenue, up from 2 million or 8% of last year. So that's good. Gross mining margin of 35%, down from 44 in Q3. That's a result of network hash rate obviously going up. You're going to be generating more, less. Based on that, the company earned 520 Bitcoin, an average direct cost of 48,200. Okay. Then liquidity, as of November 12th here, the company had a total liquidity of approximately 814 million, comprised of approximately 637 million in cash and approximately 177 million in unencumbered Bitcoin there. All right, going down here, you guys can read all this stuff. There were some other things I wanted to point out here. Operating hash rate, 14.8 as of September 30th there. So that has come down. We'll look at that a little bit as well. And I think that's it. So overall, not too bad. Going in the right direction. They've made obviously a lot of changes here in the last year, year and a half in the direction the company is going. They've pivoted away from obviously being in Paraguay, sold sites there to Hive, and they're now fully, working towards becoming an HPC provider there. So let's take a look at what we have here. Currently, we have, I think this is the latest that we have on them. Let me double check here. Nope. Okay. So number of shares actually increased, 597 million here, looks like by the end of when they reported this yesterday. So we got more shares here, even though they bought some shares back, but it looks like they used up some ATM maybe or something. They got some more shares out there. Market cap right now is 1.5 billion for them. Stock is at $2.60 here. What else do we have here? Performance has been not bad, right? From 12 weeks ago, it's up 188%. From 8 weeks ago, we're up 17% here. From 4 weeks, we're down 26. Last week, we were down 7.8. And then this week, we're going to be down quite a bit also. Current hash rate, that should be updated to 14.8. Not exactly sure where they're going to be. That's kind of where they're at right now. As it is, Bitcoin HODL, I think. Let's see, they update that yet. So that's been updated as well. Okay, so that's about 164 million there, roughly. That's 10% of the market cap here. Bitcoin per quarter, right? They went down on it. They went down to 520 Bitcoin there. I'm surprised it doesn't come in because I thought I updated it all already. I guess not. Okay, let's see that. Yeah, so 520. So that's less than they had in Q1, way less than they had in Q2 as well. So that's generating some revenue for them at least, right? Well, it's all of their revenue right now. But as they continue to build out for HPCI, that's going to definitely help them out tremendously there. And Bitcoin HODL, that has continued to increase here as well. So that's good. And as long as Bitcoin goes up on us and not go down, hash rate has been coming down ever since Q1 with the transition out of Paraguay and also Argentina, I believe. They're having issues there at that site. So I think they're closing that up already. And then here you got the actual revenues happening for them. Down a little bit to 69.2 from 71.29 in the prior quarter. So that's not too bad. Operating costs came down to 72 million from 83 million in the quarter, so that's also good there. Debt to equity up a little bit here to 0.3. Current ratio at 3.2, still really, really healthy there. Total current assets 374 million. Total current liabilities 117 million. Healthy balance sheet as can be. We covered the institution side of things already, I believe, for them. Those things are all up, right? Price target is at $7, low is at $2. So they're somewhere in between that as it is right now. And then looking at the quarterly results here for them. Let's see, did that freeze up on me? It looks like it froze up on me again. Okay, let's see if this fixes it or not. Maybe it'll fix it, maybe it won't. Yep, that fixed it. Okay, what do we got here? Total current assets obviously increased right to 374 million from 278, so that's looking good there. Total assets 800, that down a little bit, 800 from 827. What is the main reason for it being down there? Property and plant equipment went down to 359. That's a big, from 477. That's a big drawdown on that one. Current liabilities went up to 117 from 89, but still not bad. Total liabilities 189 from 165, still not bad at all on that one. Revenues, we talked about that, right? How that came in. Self-mining that had 60 million, hosting was 2.7, electrical services 1.1 million, and other revenue was 4.9 million. Cost of revenues was energy was 21 million, depreciation was 27 million, infrastructure was 21 million, and electrical component salaries was 1 million there. Nothing out of whack or out of line here. Selling general administration was 17 million. Nice decrease from the 21 million. Like seeing that. And then we had obviously the total operating loss for the company was, let's see here, 8 cents, right? 39 million in the whole overall. So not too bad. Shares definitely increased there. Looks like in the last couple of weeks for them. And going back up here, if we look at their general administrative compensation, it's 28% of the company there now of the revenues compared to 30%. So I like seeing that. That has been coming down here. I'd like to see that get below 10, but it might be a while before we see that number get down that low for them. All right, so there's that. Currently, based on the quarter results, everything else, I think I'm using the latest data that we do have on this. Q3, yep, Q2, Q1, so we were using the latest. Based on that, I'm in between 459 and 689. They're at 260. They are undervalued, in my opinion. Future estimates right now, if we're just using the last quarter times 463 and 695, still undervalued from where they really probably should be based on their even potential going forward as well. But that's kind of close to what the analysts are also looking at for them for $7 and $2 on the low side, right? Average is about 446. Even if you use the average, they're still undervalued. That's why I'm saying this looks pretty tempting for me to possibly buy some shares there in Bitfarms. Possibly also look in Cypher, right? IREN is questionable. I'm still way up on that one right now, so it would have to come down way more in order for me to be enticed to buy that one some more. And then possibly as well Cleanspark, right? So, yeah. So Bitfarms, IREN, or Bitfarms, Cypher, Cleanspark are the ones that I'd be probably looking to buy into again here if we dip some more tomorrow. And I'll let you guys know if I do buy some more. Okay, so there's that. Undervalued, should be much higher. And then, once this crazy correction finally gets done, I think we'll start running back up on these guys because they do have a lot of potential, right? Megawatts pipeline, what did they say? They got I think they said 2.1 or something, or 2. Yeah, so we're close, but I'll put it at 2,000 megawatts on that one. Okay, that's it for Bitfarms. We'll leave it at that. Okay, lastly here, Cleanspark announces closing of its upsized 1.15 billion zero coupon convertible notes offering. So that's great news, right? At 0%. That's very, very favorable terms there on that. There, obviously, we talked about this, right? They're going to be, the company has also repurchased 30.6 million shares of the company's common stock, representing approximately 10.9% of the common stock currently outstanding for approximately 460 million from investors in the offering, which will be removed from the company's outstanding share count. None of the shares were repurchased from any of the company's directors or officers, as all signed a 45-day lockup agreement in connection with the offering. Okay, so that's actually pretty good there, right? They all agreed not to sell the stock for 45 days there. That's actually pretty good. And this definitely gives them some powder there to buy more land, buy more sites, buy more megawatts, more connections, things like that going forward as well. So all of these guys are executing exceptionally well for the most part, doing all the right things that they're supposed to be doing to grow the companies. These guys are all in growth mode right now, right? And when you're in growth mode, you got to spend money to make money, and that's kind of where we are right now with it as well. So I'm okay with all of this. Yes, it's going to mean obviously potentially dilution down the road here, but it's not until 2032. And by that time, I hope the company is valued much, much higher from where it is right now as they grow out their HPCI business, and we'll see if they continue to do their Bitcoin mining business. I mean, they're definitely one of the 3 biggest players right now in the space when it comes to Bitcoin mining as it is. We'll see if they continue to hold that, or will others overtake them in time, which, we'll see. It'll greatly depend on where Bitcoin goes also. If Bitcoin continues to go up here in the next couple of years and doesn't have a bear market where we go down another 50% from where we are right now, then I think we'll be okay with these guys possibly holding on to some of those sites for Bitcoin mining still. But we shall see. All right, that is it. Let's get into Q&A here. We're going on 40 minutes already as it is. Okay, time is flying by here. Let's get into the support group for the Bitcoin miners here, and we'll try and pick each other up a little bit as best we can, I guess, on what we do have going on here. All right, so here's Q&A. As always, if you guys could preface those with a question mark or a Q, I would appreciate it. And I'm going to scroll my way up, work my way down. As always, we will get through all of these questions and then some. And let's see here. I got to fix my screen here for some reason. Again, like I keep saying it, stupid updates break things. Let's see, there we go. Okay, I can see things again. Alrighty, let's go back up, and we'll work our way down here. Okay, we'll start, I guess, we'll start with, let's go here. So we'll start with Mark. The way I see it is some rich bad guys short the market and create FUD, hoping to bring the prices down. AI is still there. You can't fight the technology. I agree with you there as well. Anon says it's over. You'll see you all in 4 years. Welcome to the bear. Again, right? I wouldn't count your chickens before they hatch. We are still in a pretty fluid environment right now as it is. Last time we had a government shutdown, it took like 5 days for Bitcoin to finally start bouncing. Then we went up like 5x after that. So don't count it out just yet. Momo says, I'm desperate. When can we go back to the peak or even higher? In due course. It's not going to be overnight. It's not going to be happening next week. It's going to take a while again for us to go back to those numbers there. I don't know if it's going to be a couple months, half a year. I don't know, but I think we will go back to those eventually here. Price Bitfarms end of year. Right now, things don't look great for any of these guys here, so it's hard to tell where they should be. I think they should be valued much higher from where they are, but we'll see where they actually go at that point. HB says strong support for the miners at 0. At 0? Jeez. At 0 at that point, if they're at 0, I'll buy all these things with the cash that I do have. I'll sell my house to buy these guys. All these guys for at 0. Price of CleanSpark, Mara, and Bitfarms end of this year. Again, hard to tell, right? If the market works with us and actually goes up, then we can obviously see these guys going back up as well. Does the AI bubble fear subside a little bit? That should help things out. If we see some deals happening here on this front for the AI guys, that could also help out. So I would think they would be higher. But if we go into a bear market, well, then that's basically it here for now, for the time being at least, until they start generating some more and more revenue from AI. All right. AMR says, see, the market has been acting differently. That's what's expected. October and Moon November, I was aggressive with building, modifying positions, lesson well learned, still way in the positive though. Okay, great. Yeah. Yeah, the market is definitely strange around this time, but we had things that didn't play well with us. Let's see. Dan sold CleanSpark at 1305, but Bitdeer at 1064. Saved myself 10,000 downside. Ended up $2,000 profit today. Okay, very nice. LOL. What is your price target for Bitdeer? Said thanks. I think it should be higher from where it's at. Yes, they fumbled. I guess you could say the football here a little bit in the last week with all the bad news that came out. Criminal notes, then notes repurchase. All of that stuff obviously weighed heavily on the stock here this week. So once that kind of settles down, I think the stock will kind of bounce back up a little bit. I don't know exactly where it's going to bounce back up, but it should bounce back up. They do have a lot of potential going forward. They do have a lot of megawatts and all that stuff as well. Kaz says trying lower lows today, not looking too good. No, but we've been here before, right? We were here just 6 months ago in April, right? Everybody was saying the same thing. It's not looking good. It's not looking great. And then what do we get? After that, we had a nice run up here. Roasted Nuts says all-time highs coming, smiley face. So I don't know if you're being, what's the term there? There's a term for it. I can't remember. You know what I mean. All right, that's my stats. It wasn't that long ago. I sold all my Bitfarms at $4. Now I'm buying back less than $3. This time I'm going to try to hold until 10. They're spending cash and building out like Amazon back in the day. I agree with you there. Yeah, but nice job selling at the $4 there. John, please list your top 5 miners. I'm holding too much CleanSpark and Hive, down 30%. Could you buy more Cypher and IREN? Could buy possibly Bitdeer. Please list your top 5 miners. My top 5 miners right now are still CleanSpark, obviously IREN, Cypher, Bitfarms as well in there. I could even put in Bitdeer in here as well, being the way it's been beaten down right now. So I'll leave it at that. Neil, do you see the data centers that are in NVIDIA's hometown sitting empty because they can't get hydro? I saw something about that, an article, something like that, about there's data centers built out, but they don't have power connected yet, and they're being empty right now, right? I saw something about that. So I don't know. Okay. Amir says AI bubble idea emerged because of some experts that showed concerns that we might be in the AI bubble. Pathetic. Yeah. Okay. DeFi says I was in margin and got burned today. That's why I don't do margin. That's these guys are already volatile as it is, and then you add on top of margins on top of it, and you're just multiplying the possibility of things to go wrong. And I don't need that on top of my head already. All right. Neil, did you see the BlackRock extended an emergency loan to CoreWeave to keep them solvent? That I did not. I did not see that. And that might be because they were expecting to get revenue this quarter or last quarter from the sites that Core Scientific is building out for them, right? I think that may be, if that's the reason why, and if it's that truthful, then I think that might be the reason why. DeFi says, heard CleanSpark about shares yet? They did. Are you buying any on the dips? Yeah, I'm looking to buy possibly tomorrow. If we have another dip tomorrow, I will start to put the basement on pause. And I'm going to start, using the cash that I would otherwise to buy some shares. What is your exit strategy, or do you plan on holding until you lose all of your unrealized gains? Well, I hope I don't lose all my unrealized gains, but I'm looking at it at a maybe longer term play. AI is going to be fundamentally changing the way things are done globally in the next 5-10 years, whatever it might be, maybe even sooner than that. The demand is not going away, I feel like. And I mean, you got GPUs ready to install at some places that can't even be turned on, or data centers can be built out because they don't have the power right now. And so power is the big roadblock in all of this, and these miners have the power. Yes, it's still going to be built out in the next year or so, but a lot of them already have power already that they could, swap out ASICs for GPUs in a pretty short amount of time, depending on what the customer there needs. But yeah, I still think this is very early stages of it. So I'm not a trader. I'm not here to trade up, 50, 100% gains and then sell it and then, try to buy it back lower. I'm not here for that. I'm here to invest in longer term a little bit more, as I have been since getting into these guys back in 2022 and 2017 actually. But that's kind of the game plan going forward here. So we'll see. I'm either going to make it, I'm going to break it. Trade Rookie, I hear we are still early, but it feels like the data center field is starting to get oversaturated. Nibius, CoreWeave, IREN, and so many others. Well, but you're going to need so much megawatts, right? So that's why it's not, I wouldn't say it's getting saturated. I'd say it's getting diversified in the approaches, right? You got CoreWeave, which right now is, you could say, asset light. They don't really have anything that they own for themselves. They partner with others. Then you have IREN, which is obviously going at it more themselves, right, with their own cloud services for customers there, which are on bare metal. You got Microsoft obviously investing in them and doing contract with them. You got others doing co-location deals also, like Cypher and TeraWolf. So it gives us a lot of different ideas and companies you can possibly invest in that, right? And which method is going to be the best one, that is going to be obviously determined here in the future. All right, Mr. X, question, what's your take on Michael Burry's closing his two big short positions on NVIDIA and Palantir and then closing his hedge fund? Yeah, I was a little surprised by that he's closing his hedge fund. The letter over there was kind of odd as well. I kind of read that quickly. Maybe he's got enough money and he's like, I don't need to worry about this stuff. Or, yeah, if you had that much money as much as that guy did, did you really want to do this? You could do it for yourself. He might do it just for himself instead of doing it on the hedge fund. Maybe he got a lot of pushback from people, for shorting Palantir and NVIDIA there. Maybe. And he doesn't probably need that again after going in on the housing, right? The mortgage-backed securities that he shorted at that point. He got a lot of flack for that when he was doing it. It worked out great for him in the long run, but man, that definitely takes a toll on you when things are going down. That's south. DeFi, MicroStrategy NAV is below their BTC holdings. Why not convert your BTC to MicroStrategy or just buy on them? Well, because here's the thing. BTC that I have right now is in my hardware wallet, cold wallet, whatever you want to call it. If for some reason Bitcoin decides to dump on us and goes below, whatever the price is going to be at a certain point, MicroStrategy is going to be liquidated at some levels, right? We don't know. I think the levels are pretty low, but still, there is a possibility they could get liquidated. Whereas if I have them on my own cold wallet, hardware wallet, whatever it is, I'm still going to have the amount of Bitcoins that I have, regardless. Whether the Bitcoin price goes down to 50,000, 40,000, 30,000, whatever it might be. I'm not saying it's going to happen, but I'm just saying if it does happen, I still have my number of Bitcoins. So, right, where we always say one Bitcoin is one Bitcoin. So that doesn't matter to me. That's why I wouldn't do it. Okay, talked about that. Randy, sold all my miners at the peak and rolled all my profits into dividend-paying ETFs. Nicely done there. It's not easy to do that, but very nicely done. Brooks, what has already bought? No, that's a scam. Not going to go for that one. Let's see. All right, that's still working there, looks like. I believe it's still working. Yeah, price is still changing. Okay. Talking about that one. Let's see, Ricky. Michael Burry accused tech giants of stretching chip lifespans, so overvaluing assets that will depreciate faster than reported. Well, not really. I mean, okay, so the chips, right? How long could you use these chips here, these NVIDIA chips? I mean, you can use them for probably 5-7 years, I think, maybe even longer. You can use them for other things, for inference, for, you don't need them to be, you can do it for other things. As you get also more and more people using AI, right? You can still use the older chips for workloads, for things like that, that are maybe not as demanding. You can still use those things. So yeah, I mean, I don't see that point there. I had a laptop that was an Apple laptop that was like 10, 11 years old. The thing still ran great. I gave it to my son to still use it, and he still plays on it. So it's kind of like, would I, after 3 years, would I just get another one because there's something better out there when it still works perfectly well, right? That doesn't make any sense to me. All right. Desmark stats. I use all the margin available to me and have margin calls almost every week. I still don't owe anything. Okay. Neil, I sold all my AI data center stocks and started to short the sector. I bought into ticker AIBD and ticker SOX. Look them up, boys. Okay, that's one way to definitely play it, right? If you can play it well, that's definitely a way to do it. Let's see. John says, congratulations, Randy. 80% of my portfolio is ETFs and large cap stocks. Nice. Bev needs Seb. I sold all my miners and now waiting for IREN to pull back to the 40s to dump hundreds of thousands into it. I think IREN is the best position for AI. What are the targets people are saying? For IREN, I mean, obviously IREN, we're talking about over $100 eventually at some point here. We don't know if it's going to be in the next 3 months or it could be the next 9 months or 12 months. But eventually I think it's going to get there. And then some, maybe even higher at that point. I mean, we got analysts talking about $140 right on it and higher. Let's see here. GNC, you don't think the bear has started at the all-time high was already printed? Bitcoin price action is currently following the 4-year cycle, but I hope you can prove me wrong. Yeah, we don't know, right? With everything that we have seen here with Bitcoin, could have reached an all-time high. Maybe the 120-some thousand was an all-time high. We won't know until probably another month or two. If Bitcoin continues to slide here, then that might be it, right? Which would be a shame because I was thinking that we could be definitely in a different cycle this time around where it's an extended cycle, not a super cycle, but an extended cycle where we actually go up slowly over time as we have more adoption, more institutions being involved, banks getting into it, right? All of these laws that have been enacted here. So it's too early. Like I said, we won't know for at least another month or two probably. Okay, Rob says Michael Burry is George Soros' puppet. That I don't know. Okay. Let's see, Karan, I sold all, lost at least 66% of the profit. This cycle is over. Last month, some gentleman, Ahmed, warned here to sell. I was greedy enough not to listen. If anyone is in profit, think wisely. Good luck. Yeah, never. I mean, I always tell everybody, if you're in profit, there's no shame in taking profits here. Probably shouldn't follow my footsteps as far as holding on to these things for so long. But I think there's more upside potential down the road, and I'm fine with having some drawdowns here right now. And then I've been through it before, and the path is not always straight. It definitely goes up and down, but eventually I think we will get to where I want to get to with these things here. All right, Victor, Trump wants the market to go up. Do you think he could tweet something positive for AI this weekend? I mean, it's always possible. We just never know. Bev says, Seb, when the government was shut down, people were happy and stocks were going up since no reports were coming out. No news is good news. However, with the government open data will show we are going into recession. That could be also the case there. That's maybe why the market's going down now. But we've been going down on these guys here for a while. At least the last 2-3 weeks we've been going down on these guys. And the market or the government was shut down for what, 37 days, 40 days, something like that. So market was going down a good portion of that government shutdown as well, or at least these guys were. Truth BTC right up against 50-week moving average. Yes, government opened means bad numbers coming out, but long term it means liquidity. Also, the idea that all this AI spending is a bubble or overdone. That, yeah. Let's see. Denmark said, don't forget odds for rate cut in December is now around 50-50. I talked about that. Let's see. Trump won't care about the market until midterms. Well, those are coming up next year, so he's definitely going to need the market to do well here in the meantime as well. All right, let's see here. Out of Cleanspark and Bitfarms, which is better buy at the moment? Ooh. Bitfarms, I think, should be at least a double from where it's at right now. I think Cleanspark should be the same thing, though, so it's kind of pick your poison there a little bit on that one. I think Cleanspark has... they got more sites. They got more megawatts currently available to them that they can build out probably faster than Bitfarms could. So based on that, I would say maybe Cleanspark, maybe. Right, Neil, sure they all have plans and no electricity to power their plans while they're financing white elephants that have no profits. A lot of these guys do have profits. Let's see, Mike Buster, why would anyone buy? Okay, tokens, bag holders, yeah. Don't pay attention to those tokens there. All right. Dan, would you purchase Bitfarms at 243? Is that a decent entry point? Right now, based on where we are, RSI and things like that, it does look like a pretty decent entry point. That's why I'm saying tomorrow I might be buying some of these things. Sadie, thank you as always for coming in and the thumbs up. Dad's market stats. Uncle Ben said global hash rate will move to other regions on the conference call like Saudi Arabia where they have cheap power potentially. Yeah. Sean, isn't IREN recently given price targets like $105 and $142? Why is it $48? Same with Cypher. They had 32, 35 price targets. What's going on here? They've had a huge run up here recently, right? We've seen that in the last, I would say, 6 weeks or something like that? 6 to 8 weeks. And things got a little bit exuberant, a little maybe overpriced a little bit, maybe overhyped a little bit. So we're having somewhat of a pullback. Fears of AI bubble are permeating into the vocabulary of people, right? So I think that's also playing into it here. And you're seeing the screen's frozen. Well, this has been a while, so hopefully the screen's not frozen right now. Things are still scrolling, so we should be good there. Okay. Let's keep going here. Okay. Rob says Bitfarms was actually green after the open, and then it was red, and then green again, and then deep red right off to the EOD. Ken Griffin responsible, possibly. Yeah, who knows? Market manipulation, possibly. All right. Is Bitfarms done buying back shares? If not, they're at a good price right now. I think they are. I think they pulled on that early on while the stock was below $2 at that point. All right. Let's see, Roger. Question more of the story is take profits in each pump, however small it may. From all the ups and downs we had, the profit taking adds up. It does, yeah. I would agree with you there, yeah. Triple-Key, it was sell the news day because of the government shutdown ending. Okay. That could be a possibility. I mean, there's always a bunch of possibilities that it could be. Essex says Bitfarms increased its energy from 1.3 gigawatts to 2.1 and still no appreciation today from the investors. Well, none of these guys got any appreciation from the investors today, so it's sector-wide, right? It wasn't just them. It was everything. Anything and anything related to HPC, data centers, whatnot, crashed hard today. Harris, question, where is the bottom on IREN? People are saying $20. $20 seems awfully low to me. Let's take a look. Take a look at the chart here on it. We'll pull it up, see what we got. How low could we go before we bounce back up here? Let's see if this actually loads for me. I may have to refresh the screen. Let's see here. Okay, I wanted IREN. Bear with me while this loads. Okay, now I'm having problems with TradingView loading. If it isn't one thing, it's another. And the markets are going down. This stuff's not working for me. What the heck is going on with the world? Okay, there we go. So there's IREN right now, right? IREN is at $48.65. $20 would be way the heck down here. That would be bouncing off of the 200 simple day moving average at that point, roughly. So we still have to go through the 100 and then down to the 200. RSI right now is pretty low as it is. It's at 39. Last time we were back at this price point, we were bottoming out here in April. So we'll see if this holds, or we could actually go down a little bit more, possibly to like the 100 SMA and bounce off of that. We did bounce off of it here as well. Yeah, I mean, we'll have to wait and see. 20 bucks does seem pretty low to me though at that point. And if it got down to that low, I'd probably be, backing up the truck on this thing and buying some more of it at that point. That would be a great entry point to get into it. Remember, IREN has, 2 gigawatts at Sweetwater, sites 1 and 2, right, combined. They have the sites in Canada that they're transitioning over to HPCI already. They have their Childress site as well, which is, I believe, 750 megawatts. So they have a lot of megawatts to energize for compute. That is going to be worth tremendous amount here. So I'm not saying it's out of the question here, but I would be surprised if it went down to $20 based on their potential going forward into the next 2 years here. But that's just me. Okay, let's go back here. All right. OTC cycle top from having in previous cycles was in order 366 days, 526 days, 548 days, and for this cycle, 534 days. What is your game plan if cycle top is already in and bear season is coming? Okay, a bear season is coming and these things come down, but they're still working towards AI HPC business and revenues from that. I'm going to be buying some more if they come back down here, right? This is not the end for these guys. If they were only in Bitcoin mining, then yeah, this would be the end for them. They would be going down like crazy along with Bitcoin here. But the potential here now gets extended out a couple more years, potentially maybe another year to 2 years, as they build out these sites and continue to get contracts, deals, all those things. So it would be at that point, I'll be probably buying like crazy is if they come back down to where they were, where I was buying it, earlier this year and last year. So if they come down to those levels, I'll be buying as much as I can at that point. Okay. Neil, could you please explain why you don't factor in the stock market is at an all-time historical highs? Well, the market is at an all-time historical highs because, one, we've had, obviously, currency debasement, right? Inflation. That's been happening. So as things get more expensive, the companies make more money. So the market should go up in value because of that as well. Then you also have companies making a heck of a lot more revenue as well, especially like the big guys, Microsoft, Apple, Amazon, right? They're getting to huge scales right now. They're global companies. As a result, they're going to be generating more revenue. You got other companies that are also competing in that space, right? You got companies like Palantir, you got companies, NVIDIA as well, right? All of these guys, this is going to be driving the future growth more so into that. There's going to be cost savings at, unfortunately, the cost of employment for some of these people. But there's going to be huge cost advantages for a lot of these companies going into AI as well, or using AI in general. I think people's lifespans are going to be increased because of AI eventually. There's just so many benefits that are going to be happening down the road here. So that's why things, I think, are still going up. I mean, market's down like a little bit here. It's not down that much. The general market, right? S&P, NASDAQ, and all those. But yeah, that's kind of my thoughts on it. Okay, let's see. Cleanspark bought back 30 million shares worth 460 million with the 1. Yep, they did. Does anyone know where to buy? That's a scam or buster. I should read the comments before I probably talk about them or pull them up. Don't forget that perma bulls are greedy and get slaughtered. That is true. All right, IREN is selling off further in pre-market. It is a little bit right now. JJ, yes, buying shares back finally. Yep, we're getting to that point where things are getting attractive again. Neil, are all of these companies? All these companies have high cash burn rates with very little profits and weak promises of future performance. weak promises. IREN's talking about getting what was it now 2 billion plus, I think, for them run rate for next year. Let me see here. IREN, where do we have them at? IREN, I know they were targeting 500 million from before. We're looking at take out the Bitcoin mining side of things, and we're at 3 billion for next year sometime. What their annual run rate is going to be. So that's not something to sneeze about. OTC, seeing this time is different is a recipe for disaster. Last cycle, people were saying the same thing when BTC was around 42,000. You know what happened? Yeah, I do. OTC says no extended cycle. You might be right. I could be wrong on this. My thoughts behind it was because of all the ETFs, all the institutions buying into it, companies buying into it, countries buying into it. All of those things will lead us to an extended cycle here. I think it's still early to tell whether that's going to be the case or not, but we'll see. Seb IREN at 35 to 40. I will buy and sell at 150. Okay, nice. OTC says recognize the downtrend, friends. Downtrend can also be reversed. It can become an uptrend, right? It doesn't always just continue to go down. Trade. BTC is sinking lower, as you can see on the screen. Yeah, it's at 97,000 right now. Looks like. Let's see, Bitcoin. Yeah, Bitcoin's down to another 1.9% right now on the new day. And it's continuing to shrink here. That's because people are fearful. Everybody's freaking out right now. Eventually, I think some players will come in and start buying this up because it's going to be pretty juicy for them not to. That's just my thoughts. But we shall see. If it is a bear market, it is a bear market. Then we're going back down, and then I'll get all these guys at a much lower price point again. Like I said, I don't need the cash right now. All this stuff was going to be for my retirement anyway, so I'm not too worried there. Let's see. DeFi is fair value of IREN at least 10 billion plus based on the deal. I mean, it's $5 billion, right? For, is it $5 billion? No, it's $9.7 billion for the 5 years. So I think it should be valued higher based on their future growth potential, but that's just me. All right, we got Rob. Everyone remember that the banks have to meet their benchmarks for us investors before the end of the year. So be ready for them to buy up the market within now and the next 5 to 6 weeks. Good point there. Rob, hey Seb, if this train wreck continues, would you ever consider selling some shares? Not now. I don't need it. I'm not in any dire financial, struggle or anything like that. I can maintain my good living lifestyle the way it is right now without having to touch any of that stuff. All that stuff was always an investment into the future there. Whether it takes me, another year to 2 years, whatever it might be, to get beyond where I was just here recently in the last couple of weeks, so be it. I'm okay with it. SH, sarcastic, that's the word I was looking for there. Thank you. Rosa Nut says, you got it. JD, DCing isn't bad here, in my opinion. I would agree also. All right, DeFi, a 0%, 1.15 billion convertible, and 460 million repurchase of 30.6 million shares, 10.9 of outstanding shares, 0 insider selling, and every section 16 filer locked up for 45 days. Yep, that's good to hear there. Pete, question. I like you, Seb, here for a while. Question. I like you, Seb, here for a while. I'd like to ask you to give it all a strong pause. There seems to be a strong AI reality check affecting our miners heavily. I'm selling with losses. Please take profits. Okay, so you're selling at losses, so you got in at higher prices, it looks like. I'm sorry for that. I'm still in huge profits here right now as it is, so I don't have that fear of selling. Like I said, I've been with these guys for a long time here. Things have changed out from, promise of Bitcoin going to Valhalla to now HPCI potential. Yes, the recent sentiment in the market has definitely changed on HPC AI plays, rightfully so or wrongfully so. I think it's wrongfully so. But again, we needed a pullback. These things have run up very, very fast here. Up 500, 600, 7%, some of these guys in a matter of a couple months. So a pullback, I think it's healthy. Rosanat says, Mara, too late to HPCI party? Not always. You can still, bounce back from that. OP Magic, what price would Mara have to hit to be on your radar? it wouldn't be just price. It would have to be also an operations path going forward. They are trying to get into HPC AI as well, but I need to see them actually execute very well here, right, in order for me to do that. Their past history has not been great when it comes to operations and things like that. So that's why I've been on the sidelines with them for a long time, even though they were like the darling of 2021, if you remember, right? The stock did great, went up to $80 on that, even though they later on in the bear market, they still couldn't perform well in operation side of things. Okay, Rob, 180 people watching tonight. Has there been more SEB? Yeah, we've had reached like 200 at one point, I think, 200 some. Obviously, when we're doing great, things are running. We were at 220, 240, I think, at one point as well. So, yeah. But obviously, a lot of people are interested, what's going on with the downtrend here. All right. Let's see. Bitfarms Management says the Moses Lake GPU cloud site, 18 megawatts alone, could generate, yeah, we talked about that, per year than Bitfarms has ever made from Bitcoin mining. Yeah. Talked about that. JD, the ability to replace workers for companies is too tempting for AI not to succeed. Labor is the biggest cost on payroll. It is, right? So think about it. If you could replace that for AI, also robots, that's the other thing that's going to be very interesting happening here in the next, couple of years, I guess you could say. Tesla, I think, is going to be a big benefactor of that with their Optimus robots, others as well. It's a race. It's a race between all these huge companies that have hundreds of billions, if not trillions of valuation on them. And it's going to be all-out war between them to try to get market share of all that stuff. So I don't see this stuff slowing down anytime soon. All right. That's it. To apply for power for data centers in Washington, it takes 10 years. In Canada and Pennsylvania, about 5 to 6 years. We are about 45 gigawatts short in 2030. Yeah, I saw that as well on that report that was from, was that from Morgan Stanley, I think that was? Okay. All right. How undervalued is CleanSpark, and is this your top buy? CleanSpark, along with IREN, are my top buys as far as how much money I put into them. They're about even. I think IREN's a little bit higher than just slightly by a couple thousand. But overall, IREN has been my best performing here so far. Where do I think CleanSpark should be? I think CleanSpark should be somewhere between $22 and $33 right now. And it's at $11. So, yeah, way undervalued from where it really should be. That's just my thoughts on that one. Okay, Daryl says, ouch, looks like there is no extended Bitcoin bull cycle here. I mean, we'll have to wait and see. We'll see where we end up at. But 97,000. But here's the thing. All right, let's take a look at this. Right, we talked about this before as well on it. But Bitcoin here. Bitcoin, we had a correction on Bitcoin. Let's see if this actually loads properly for me here. Let's do this. Okay, there we go. So Bitcoin, we had a correction from here to here, down 30-some percent. Right? We had a correction on it as well from here. This was back in March of 2024 to, looks like August is kind of where we bottomed out here at that point. That was a 30-some percent correction as well. Okay? Going down here, we had this over here was a 30% correction as well. At that point, I think it was a 30% correction if I'm not mistaken. Let me take a look at it. So we've had multiple 30% corrections here. Maybe not 30%. This one was a 22% correction, right? Within a matter of a couple days at that point. We had a 30% correction here, I think, as well. From where we were here, and we got down to a bottom 20%. So we've had multiple 20% and 30% corrections here over the last year and a half to 2 years, potentially. If you look at it where we are right now, right? 30% correction here, that took us a couple months, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 4.5 months, roughly, more or less. 4.5 months. Right now, we reached a high here. We're in it for about a month and a half, more or less. And we are down currently, if from the top here down, we are down 23%. 30% correction would put us at 87,000. That's kind of where that's historically what we have seen here, at least. Now, hopefully it doesn't take us 4 or 5 months to get down there, where it's just going to be a drag out, grind down like we've seen here over this period from December through basically April. Hopefully it's just, if we're going to do it, let's do it. Let's get it down to 87 and then let's bounce. That I would be okay with. And then we can possibly continue on with the supposed bull rally, which we never really had this year. I mean, looking at Bitcoin right now, I think Bitcoin's actually going to be in the red here from where we started out at. It is going to be, let's see, this is June. Let's see. Where are we at on it? This is January, Friday, 7th, 8th, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, Bitcoin at that point was right around here. So, I mean, we're basically flat on the year right now as it is. We were right around this range here. And Bitcoin, yeah, we were right there. I mean, we basically, yeah, we're flat on the year so far. Yeah. No Bitcoin rally this year. Historically, what would we have had this year? We would have had a massive run in Bitcoin if this was the end of it all, and we did not get that. We went up basically from here to here. How much did we go up? We got up 28% in that rally for that year. If we look at prior rallies going back to 2021, see here, this is 2021 here. We went up a lot more for sure. Let's see here. December 31st, we were right around there, and we went up 170%. So definitely much higher, almost 188% in that year. Right? Yeah. Yep, November time frame. So much different than it was in the past. Okay. All right, talked about that. All right, Kaz, question. Is Bitfarms getting a customer at Washington site? They are obviously working towards that. I don't know if they have a customer yet, but they are working for it. Rob, Michael Burry is a fudster. He likes to short. I don't know why, but he likes to short. So he's not a very positive person, I guess. Investment in knowledge about, what about IREN and Cypher? What about them? What would you like to know? All right, Herman, has anyone, that's another token. Don't do those. Daryl, so if the Bitcoin cycle is heading into a bear market, this space will bleed even more. Would you not think it'd be a good idea to sell now and buy back your shares in 2 months? Okay. I suck at timing. I'll be honest with you guys. I suck at timing these things. Just when I think things are, at their worst, at their lowest, and I've done that in the past where I've sold to think I can buy back even lower, things start to go up. So it's always been the quandary for me. It's like, okay, I sell now. I'm down well, I'm not down. I'm still in the green at least. And if I sell and then they go back up, right, I've lost what I had in them already as it is. Then I got to pay income taxes on it as well, right? Capital gains, things like that. It's like, all right, if they're going down, I'll just buy more into them, right? But I'm having more of an investor mindset than a trader mindset. And that's kind of where some of you guys differ from me, is you guys are more of a traders, and you guys probably have done a lot better than I have in this regard. But for me, it's just easier to do it this way. Okay. But Seb, how low can IREN go? Can you look at the chart? Yeah, we kind of looked at it already as it is. Investment in knowledge. Cypher, what about Cypher? What would you like to know about them? Daryl, I have conviction for the future for this space, but there may be more pain before it rebounds. I would agree with you there. Gee, bad numbers coming out mean Jay Powell cuts rates? No. If bad numbers, depending on what? Bad numbers on employment, possibly, but if we also have inflation going up, then probably possibly not. So they got to have a balance there, right? Let's see. Patrick says, now we need buying whales. Yeah, we need the whales to start buying up again. All right, Rob, who wants to make a bet that Trump will tweet about BTC anytime now till the end of the year? Yeah, I mean, his family definitely has a lot of money invested in Bitcoin there, right? He does not want to lose that money. So maybe they will, talk about something there. All right, Mark, isn't government about to print money? I don't get it. M2 is going up. Gold is going up. Yeah, I mean, it's a disconnect right now. Eventually, things should pop. All right. Seb, NVIDIA earnings in 6 days. If they post any mediocre earnings, the whole AI space is going in dumps. I don't think that they will. I mean, you can just obviously see the demand that's happening here in this space. Anthropic, right? Buying up or co-locating sites as much as they can. Amazon, Microsoft, potentially Google as well. So I don't see that slowing down there. Okay. All right. So do you think buying today Bitcoin, IREN, Cypher is okay, or wait after the weekend? That's going to be your call there. If we go down more tomorrow, I will probably start buying in tomorrow sometime. I don't know when, but I'll probably start buying in some more. Okay. And we'll talk about it obviously tomorrow night. All right. Let's see where we at here. Geez, we're going on almost an hour and a half here already as it is. I'm still not catching up to all your guys' questions. Gotta go fast. All right. If you are at the indexes, there weren't down much versus actual tech and AI data centers. Pharma and similar sectors were up. This seems like a rotation. Could be. I mean, these things have definitely done great, so it could be a rotation. JD Seb, do you see the Soluna project Dorothy 2 news? I did not know. I know they're trying to build out the data centers there for Soluna, but I did not see that. No. DeFi, why did Cleanspark bought back shares versus investing in data centers? That's a good question. I'm not sure. I think it was, I mean, the only thing I think of was to help investors potentially. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe they wanted them to buy back shares, you know, the people with the convertible notes. I'm not sure. Larry says, I own 1,036 shares of Bitfarms. We'll be buying another 1,000 shares tomorrow. They are making great strides. I agree with you there as well. Rob, Larry, you won't be the only one buying more Bitfarms shares tomorrow. Yeah, I'll be with you guys as well. If we dip some more, I'll be buying. Buster, I got to get rid of Buster there. I got to read the questions too before I post them up there. All right. Maddie, I'm still 40% up in Bitfarms, but I'm really starting to feel doubt whether to hold them or selling. These last weeks have been exhausting. I mean, so you are still in green on it. 40% is still nice. I'm still up close to 100% on them, probably around 90% right now. So I'm not too far behind you as it is. I was at one point up like 280, 300% on them, right? So definitely down now. But yeah, that's going to be your call on that one. I can't tell you how to, you know, do your finances and what's your tolerance, what's your risk tolerance level there. Andrea, whales that have been holding for 10 plus years are selling billions, so maybe they will buy back Bitcoin with the price being driven down so much. That could be a possibility also. Yes, we've seen a lot of those guys selling out here recently. We're seeing basically from rotation happening from long-term holders into institutions and things like that as well. Sour says Sailor's freaking out right now, possibly. I think what's his break-even price, like 70-some thousand per Bitcoin, right? 73, I think it is, on that one. And after that, he starts definitely feeling the pinch. Rob, it seems like a lot of people are fearful right now, so let's start buying more Bitfarms and Hive and Hut. There you go. Take it to the bears. Let's see. Harris, I still don't see a trend reversal for IREN, more like a capitulation phase. We will find support once AI bubble narrative cools down. Could be the case. Let's see here. IFS trades, buy low, sell high, just greed that keeps us from selling and fear from buying. That's true. That is very true, right? A lot of it is psychological. All right, so 4 months to climb and 1 week wipes half of that out. Yeah. That's the market for you. Rob, right around Black Friday is probably when the stock market is going to be rocking hard in full swing. I would love that. So let's buy up before it happens. I'm planning on buying tomorrow. IREN down 5% after hours. Something must be happening. Same with CleanSpark. Well, Bitcoin's coming down here. I mean, market's just been crazy here recently. Has anyone found, that's another one that I got a block there. Bitfarms down another 10% after hours. Something must be happening. I mean, geez, is the United States going to go to war with Venezuela there? Is that what's freaking people out? Appreciate the insight on Marva. Thank you. You're very welcome there. Bitfarms is a crap company. I disagree, but I still call you my friend. Their drop makes sense. I don't know if it makes sense. I think they're still undervalued from where they should be, but that's just me. BTC, I have Cypher at 20. Would it be wise to sell pre-open at 14 and buy back 11? Oh, geez. That's going to be your call, right, to do those kind of to do those types of trades. That's going to be up to you. Yeah. I think it's blame. I can't pronounce that. This makes the market is insane. Miners correction always more insane than BTC. Haha. Yeah. There are some that are kind of a little bit more insulated, a little bit. Cypher, IREN, obviously you're not seeing them come down as hard, but they're still down. But yeah. JSR says there was no BTC adoption. JTS, it was all fake. Maybe not. I don't think that was the case though, but that's here. Victor, question 87,000, 90,000 is that major support line. On Bitcoin, if we look at Bitcoin here, 87,000, 90,000, somewhere around there. 87,000 would be right around this line here. There's minimal support here. We do have a couple touches here around here. 90,000. Let's see where that one at. That one, same thing. There's minimal support there as far as I can tell. We got a lot more support around 83,000. We have a lot more touches around here, back there as well. So we will see where we go. Okay, but it's going to be not a great Friday if we're down already 2% here on Bitcoin here at 97,000. This is going to be a, what do they call it? Black Friday or Red Friday, whatever it's going to be called. Okay, go back here. Let's try to catch up with all the questions here. BLT says, I'm just happy I sold my positions. Nicely done there. CleanSpark probably going to $2 USD. I hope it doesn't go down that low. It's been a long time since it was that low. I made a lot of money from Bitfarms, then sold it. Else I would have got killed. Nicely done there. Herman, has anyone found... oh, just another one of those. You are bought into a dream and trading based on it. I hear you're making predictions based on companies' future projections. Perhaps they're similarly blinded by irrational hope. Could be, right? Seb, I have been a viewer for a long time. Gotta give you some honest feedback. You are trying to make the market fit your expectations and failing to see reasonable arguments that it is time to sell. You could be right on that as well. Right? I'm not saying that you're not right or that I'm wrong and you're right and I'm right and you're wrong, right? I have a different way of doing things. Could I be doing things wrong? Yes, I could absolutely be doing things wrong. There's no doubt about that. But I'm just sharing with you guys what I'm doing, right? You can follow, or I hope you don't follow some of the stuff that I do, but at least it gives you, an insight into what I'm doing. See, I encourage you, given your healthy position and profits, to begin DCing out just like you DCing in. There is extreme leverage here, extreme expectations, extreme greed. It's time to take profits. Things have already come down a lot, though, right? Do we bounce from here? I don't know. If you are wrong, you have a lot to lose. By DCing out, you ensure incredible gain, and you can buy back in when the cycle ends for real, which I believe you have said eventually it will end. Every cycle eventually ends, right? And then if you're right, it may take years to build out and grow these businesses, and HPCI companies like Bitfarms, IREN, etc. are relying on unrealized contracts from already overextended hyperscalers. I don't think that hyperscalers are overextended, to be honest with you. I think OpenAI might be a little bit overextended, but as they build out more of their infrastructure, there's more products that can be, oh gosh, what's what I'm looking for? Not materialized, but more revenue can be generated from those products, right? So it's one of those things. It's you got to build something in order to do something, and that's kind of where we're at the stage we're at right now, where you have to build things in order to then start generating revenue there. But we'll see. Okay, Mark says that will be more stressful to sell and try to buy back in. Markets could turn anytime. That I agree there as well. Andrew, selling and trying to buy back assumes extended cycle. This is a very risky bet. Well, again, the miners are, we'll see, but the miners are acting more on HPCI, especially the ones that are getting into it here, than the other ones. Who knows? Let's see. Vic Hone says, Mark equals Seb is down like over 800,000 since last Monday. Yeah, well, that's about that right now. Buster, does anyone know? That's another one. Doggone it. Keep forgetting to do that. KB Dubs, yeah, it's over. You pumpers are cooked. Congrats on the bags. I will hold my bags and I'll add more to my bags if that's the case. BLT, I spent 2 years buying bits and hold it till 9 Canadian, then sold it at 7 Canadian. Very nice. Randy, once you sell at this point, I would say stay out of the market for the miners. We are closer to the top of the cycle. Okay, definitely a lot of negativity here. KB Dubs, all the bag holders here. I'm here. BLT, it went all the way from 1 Canadian to 9 Canadian to 6 months. It's insane. No, not talking about a token there. That's why I sold it all. Very nicely done. I am very sad. I was at profit of 9.2 million when I sold, cashed out 2.9 million. Okay, it's still really good. Let's see, BLMLT, as long as you win, it's all good. BLMLT, don't go against the trend, okay? but the trend doesn't go always forever. Rob T, is it still she's another one here. Kevin, is it the end of the world? Seb, the market seems to think so. Rob, everyone, let's cross our fingers for Hive earnings released. Oh, that's right. That's coming out tomorrow in the bell, but no conference until Monday. Yeah. So we'll have to see on that one. Any idea why Hive would... I don't know why. Whether it's... I don't know if they have bad news in there or what. Okay. What else we got here? Let's see. Yep. Hive's earnings tomorrow morning. We'll cover that tomorrow afternoon or late evening, actually. Jasmine, Bitfarms down 10% overnight. Where do you think the local bottom is to get in? I think it's close on a lot of these guys, for Bitfarms included. If we look at the chart here on Bitfarms really quick. This is on the daily, right? I don't have the hourly chart or the 5-minute chart here after hours right now, but we're pretty close to the, our size really close to 30 here. We have bottomed at that range before as well. I mean, we have come down here, but we did fall even further. So we could fall a little bit further more. I don't know. I mean, this just, to me, looks like panic selling by everybody. I don't know whether it's the algos that are panicking, and somebody's got to fine tune those things, smack them upside the head a little bit and go knock it off, or what. We'll see what tomorrow brings us. That's for sure. But keep going down. I'll be buying. Dobro, Dan says the negativity here is unreal. Yeah, I mean, a lot. BLMLT, you are doing a good job, Seb. Thanks for sharing your thoughts with us. You're very welcome. Thanks for coming in. Victor, it's crazy that Burry has that much power. I know. Well, him, Trump, who else? The Fed, Powell, right? Rob, Andrew, Martin, weren't you on that TV program called SCTV? That I don't know. Steve, thank you so much for the likes. Okay, bag holders all over here coming to Seb trying to justify holding their bags. Sell now. Yeah, like I said before, take profits is a good thing. Question, joined late. Are we still bullish? I mean, the story is bigger than anything else in the past. The AI race will pick the country with most power. De-dollarization should push asset classes too. I think the same thing. I'm with you on that. But yeah, I mean, the market just doesn't see that or is not agreeing with that. Sarah says adding Cleanspark tonight or tomorrow, actually. David, looks like BTC January 28th. Then look, April 7th, we had about 30% drop. That's what I'm saying. Yeah, we've had multiple 30% drops here in the last 2 years. This is not out of the ordinary. It never feels great until we're past it. But yeah, I'm still not convinced that this is the end of the cycle here. Rob, seems like there are a lot of shorts in here trying to convince us to sell so that they can buy up shares at real cheap. Could be. See, question. Seb, I am holding and adding. Are you? I am holding and I'm going to be adding tomorrow as well. If these things continue to be down as much as they are in overnight hours right now, I'll be buying some more tomorrow because these things are getting ridiculously, sold off here. So many emotional people here tonight, amateurs. I wouldn't say they're amateurs. I mean, everybody's obviously afraid, right? There's been huge gains on this, which is understandable. And then you see these huge losses as well. Well, not huge losses, but huge drawdowns on this. And it gets to you. I completely understand that. All right. Jasmine, question. There seems to be a debate on if AI investment will generate good ROI. If Mag 7 decide not to sign new contracts with hyperscalers, will the HPC AI play by the miners no materialize? Hyperscalers, well, decide not to sign new contracts with hyperscalers. If the Mag 7 decide not to sign any contracts with hyperscalers, Mag 7 are basically the hyperscalers, right? So basically you're asking if the hyperscalers won't sign any contracts with the miners there. Miners have megawatts relatively quickly available compared to what they can get now. That is the Mag 7, the hyperscalers, right? So I think they're going to have to utilize these miners for contracts, whether it's 5 years, bare metal like Microsoft and IREN, or co-location deals, right? They're getting these longer term contracts for this. So they're already planning longer term. I mean, you're seeing obviously 10-year, 15-year contracts out there for these co-location deals. So they're working towards that as it is. And I don't think that the appetite for AI is going to stop. A lot of the stuff that I keep talking ad nauseum on this stuff, a lot of the stuff that we're doing now is going to be handled by AI. New advances in medicine and science and materials all of those things will eventually come from AI as well. And that build out is coming, like it or not. Okay, Rob says, BLNT, check out the earnings whisper concerning Hive earnings for tomorrow morning. Okay. Okay, BLNT says, interesting. I guess tomorrow will be a big day then. Let's see, Star Market. The whole market is getting destroyed and people are acting like it's only the miners and the cycle's over. LOL. Give me a break. Well, the miners are getting destroyed more, I think, than the overall market. But AI data centers, Bitcoin, obviously is getting destroyed right now. Some of the other sectors are doing not quite as bad. Let's see what happens to Hive Sec tomorrow. We'll definitely cover it for sure. Betty said, do you think it is a good idea to pick up IREN at 40? It could double easy and triple by next year. Sometime it could. It could also fall a little bit more, right? So I would say dollar cost averaging if you're going to do that at this point, but not financial advice as always. Mark says, I'm holding. Nice try, Bear Boys. Okay. Let's see, a lot of weak people here tonight. Well, we got some positive people as well. Rob, I think I know what is up with Hive splitting out their earnings release on Friday and conference call on Monday. They are very close to a deal with hyperscaler. Perhaps Monday will be the day when they deal the PR. Okay, that would be interesting. Then they could have just pushed it off until Monday, right? Other companies have done that as well. They pushed out their conference call because they're obviously got a deal is working on right now. Okay, catching up here. Andre says, AI is here to stay. Timing the market is crazy. I agree. DC and HODL if you have conviction. I would agree there as well. Adam, when will IREN make as much from AI HPC as Bitcoin? Next year. This should be at next year. This year they got to a run rate of about $1 billion with Bitcoin here recently within the last, what has it been, two months or something like that? It's been coming down here, obviously, because they're not building out their Bitcoin mining side of things and HPC or Bitcoin transactions. Bitcoin network hash rate has increased more, so they're generating less. And Bitcoin prices have been coming down, so generating less from that. So if they get their 23,000 GPUs install the additional GPUs to get to 60,000 GPUs, that's going to be, what is it going to be, 1 billion, 1.5 billion in annual run rate from that alone. And then and on top of that, the Microsoft deal, then you're looking over $3 billion in annual run rate for them consistently. Instead of this up and down with Bitcoin, which has obviously been very, very, very not stable. Okay. All right. I've come to all you guys' questions here. We're going on almost an hour and 40 minutes, much longer than I had anticipated here. But obviously a lot of fear in the market, which is understandable here. And I hope we do, I hope we eventually bounce out of this year. BLMT says, I hope we wake up and BTC goes to 100,000. That would be great. BLMT, good night, everyone. Good night to you as well. Thank you for coming in. Cryptozer. I might actually get the shares back that I sold on. Just crazy that I could end up benefiting handsomely from this crash. Numbers can't come soon enough. Okay, awesome. What else we got here? A couple more coming in here and we'll call it a day. What do we got? That one came through. Sadie came through. Thank you, Sebastian. Thank you, Sadie. And we got one more from Mark coming in here. Here's the thing. BTC is down 30% already due to the size. We know volatility has gone down. Maybe we drop another 10, 15%. It's much bigger. It's much bigger asset now. If nothing goes belly up, we should not drop more. It's actually down like 22% right now as it is from the top. So we still have a little bit more room to run. Coin Operator says, thank you, bro. Great stream. I appreciate it. Thank you so much for coming in as well. Let's see, Crypto Czar says, don't forget to like the before you go to bed. Give Sebastian some love tonight. Thank you, I appreciate it. Brooks, friends, did you that's Andrea, thank you, Sebastian. Thank you, Andrea. And also thank you as well. All right, love you all. I hope you guys have a great night. We'll see what tomorrow brings us. We'll cover it at that point. All right, but I hope you guys have a great Friday at least. It's the end of the week. We got weekend happening. We can unplug at that point. But I'll see you guys tomorrow. Love you all.